Hey, all you audio editing superstars. I wanted to show you something I've learned on audio where the two people on the track are not at the same level. You know, there's only so much you can do at times with dealing with that. And in this case, it sounds like the person who was the guest did not have an external microphone. They were using the microphone on their laptop or whatever, and they were in a room that was kind of echoey. And so we're having trouble with the host's voice being very strong and loud and the guest's voice not being as loud. I don't know if you guys know this technique I'm going to show you. It's dicey because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you have to do some little extra tweaks on it once you've done it to make it where it's not killing the ears of the person who's listening. So what it is using some compression on just the voice that is lower than the strong host's voice in this case. So I'm going to get myself out of the way and show you how this is. Now you can see right here, this section is the guest's voice. This section is the host's voice. All right, you can see the difference in the waveforms just by looking at it. And I want you to hear a little bit of the guest's voice compared to the host's voice so you can see what I'm talking about.
Gave him a different experience. It sounds like that was sort of a moment, for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. I think those are the rocks.
Okay, so you get the point of what I'm doing. Now, here's what I'm doing. On the track prior to this, all this, I have already done the process I'm about to show you, and you can see the difference in the sound waves just by looking. But we're going to have to zoom in to show you what we're doing and to point out some other issues. So here's where we started right here with the host's voice.
Gave him a different experience. It sounds like that was sort of a moment, for you.
Yeah.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom way in and find the beginning of the guest's sound wave. And I'm going to click right at the very beginning of it, not over here somewhere in the silence. I'm going to click right at the beginning because that's going to mitigate the effect of what we're doing to a degree where it's not so noticeable because it's starting right when the voice is starting. So the difference in sound is not so shocking. Okay, so what I'm going to do is divide the track right there. And I'm in Audacity, but whatever you are in, Adobe Audition, whatever, you'll be able to figure this out. I'm going to go to the end of where the guest's voice is, and I'm going to listen to it to make sure I'm dealing with what I think I'm dealing with.
That's awesome.
Okay, so see, this was actually the host's voice. So I'm going to do again right here, the same division. Now I'm going to double click on this part of the track, and I'm going to use my keyboard shortcuts to compress. And let me do that again just so you can see my settings. I'll give you a second to look at that. These are typical settings for what I do. But what it did was it amplified, so to speak, the guest's voice. So now let's listen to it again.
Sort of a moment, for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No question. I think those are...
See, and if you've been doing this throughout the entire track, then the listener is quickly going to become accustomed to that being the sound of the guest's voice. Now, I mentioned sometimes you have to tweak this a little bit, and that is especially true when there is talk over, both people talking at once or that kind of thing. I would suggest you not do this in sections where both are talking, if you can at all get away with it, because it's just going to be, it's going to be too abrupt, probably on the host's voice in this case, because her voice is already strong, so it's going to make her voice even stronger, and it could be like an abrupt loudness in the ears of the listener. But sometimes what I've noticed is if the guest, for whatever reason in this case, were to have a really strong sound wave right at the beginning, like she took a big breath and is speaking really strongly, you may have to do a little quick fade in at the beginning of it to soften the effect of the compression. And this is a track that this issue was on. The editor didn't realize that this could be done on this track, and that's okay. We're all learning. That's why I'm throwing this into the channel for you to see. And this is a tip that works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work, though. Sometimes there's just dynamics as to how it was recorded and the type of room they were in and all that, where it just doesn't sound good. So you have to be discerning in your own ear. So anyway, that's just a tip, guys. I hope that's helpful.